This weekly gym is about learned helplessness. And learned helplessness is an extremely important topic. We could probably do an entire mini class just on learned helplessness. It's really deep. It's really insidious. The upshot of learned helplessness is that it is a response, and a rather logical response, where a person feels a sense of powerlessness, usually because it's been demonstrated to them that they are powerless. There's either a really horrible traumatic event or a persistent systematic set of events that are roadblocks to success. And then when that happens, people stop trying to act. So think about that. Like when you go into a meeting and you say, hey, this could be fixed, or this could be better, or we can do better than this. And people are like, yeah, we tried that before and it didn't work. That's learned helplessness. It sounds like pessimism, but it's a lot deeper than pessimism, because most of those people who are saying that, like the active part of that sentence is, we did try that. When we got here, we tried to be good professionals and we were thwarted. So, learned helplessness is, it's a real and honest response to risk. It is a real and honest response to systems. It is a real and honest response to threats. And it is where a lot of the resistance you as a change agent are going to find lives. That's where it's coming from. People who honestly did at one time want to make a difference, and for worse, not for better or worse, but just for worse, they have been shown otherwise. They've had bosses say, we're too busy to deal with your stupid ideas. They've said, we don't have enough time or money. Who cares about that? That's not really a problem. The system, in the form of people and actions, have pushed back against that beneficial change. When they do that, they push back against the goodwill, feelings, and professionalism of the people that are bringing that. And so when a professional brings professionalism and then gets that professionalism denied, they start to remove those type of activities from their definition of professionalism. They start denying that natural tendency to want to improve things and collaborate. And they instead say, well, I'll just do what I'm told. Just look, I don't want that argument ever again. I don't want to feel like that ever again. So there are now 3 stages that they go through, where there's kind of a denial of agency, where you took the agency to originally bring a change, and then somebody was like, I don't pay you to think. And then when they do that, there is a denial of status. So you originally had your desire to act changed or thwarted, and then when it was thwarted, now you have a denial of status. I'm not worthy of bringing change, right? And again, this is a logical set of thoughts for someone who is figuring out their place in a system. Then when we come along as change agents, we're like, hey, you can do this and do this. And they're like, nah, we've already done that, because number 3, they've lost initiative, right? That is learned helplessness. You try and do something and it's denied. You begin to internalize that as part of your status, and then you reevaluate your level of initiative based on what you see you're actually able to do. Learned helplessness is an extremely logical set of reactions. Okay? So let's get that out, because we want to look at this and say, okay, so we now understand that, we do something awesome, we get grief for doing that awesome thing, and then we're more hesitant to act in the future. And what we want, so now everybody's like, okay, well, how do I make it stop? How do I make it go away? So it's really hard to make this one go away, because it's so easy when you're busy to inadvertently dismiss the creative energies of the people around you. You're desperately trying to get stuff done, and they're like, what if we do this? And what if we do that? And you're just like, I don't have any more bandwidth to think about those things. We don't have a place, usually, to put those good ideas. We don't have a place to say, this is where I can take those ideas and do something with them. Therefore, we don't have a system to avoid learned helplessness. We don't have a system to create the psychological safety and the agency necessary to get our work done. Therefore, we have a system to do the opposite, which is destroy agency and destroy psychological safety. So we can build an obeya, we can build a place where these ideas can go and either be acted on immediately, be acted on later, or be discussed and discarded because they didn't need to be acted on, but they still got the respect of being discussed and discarded as opposed to just being discarded out of hand, right? So your obeyas can trigger action, they can provide rationale for that action, and they can foster informed action. So today on Modus Institute, I had this exchange with Molly. And Molly is in our Lean Agile Visual Management program, and she's working her way through it. And she's here saying, hey, I really got excited about some of the things in this unit that she was in. And so let's grab this and reveal something. Okay, so first she was interested in the warring silos comment. So we had to build a collaborative system that reached deep into historically warring silos. So what this was about was that there was a group that had engaged en masse in learned helplessness, which meant that they had started to accept mediocrity. They wouldn't improve anything because they had always been denied the opportunity to improve. Therefore, they just focused on the work that they did in their silo. Other silos were in the same situation. And then when the silos needed something from each other, or this one had a goal or a KPI or an OKR or something that was contrary to this silo, then they would war. They would go fight against each other. And these are in the same company. You don't want different groups in your company to fight against each other. And we do this all the time. We set up, zero-sum games about who gets what funding, who gets what head count. And what we don't actually look at is, what does the work actually need beyond who's the most, strongest manager or whatever. So we were talking about when you have like fixed budget or fixed timelines, but you have an evolving design of the thing that you're building. And this can be a physical building, it can be software, it can be a book, it can be a movie, it can be clothing, it can be a sales campaign. We all know that when we start a project, we start it knowing the least amount about that project, and then we learn more until we're finally done. But we set our cost and our timeline at the beginning, so our work evolves, but our cost and our timeline don't. So we spend an awful lot of our time fighting about whether or not we should change our cost or our timeline. So what we want to build, and what she's referencing here from Turner, is something called the right environment, where the professionals and the customer get together at the beginning of the project and they say, what is the information that everybody needs in order to get a good job done, in order to be professionals? And one of the things about that is expectations. So professional expectations on everybody's part. So to get everybody at the beginning of a project to say, hey, we recognize that this project is going to change. And we want to make sure that we change in the right way. We want to make sure that we change in a way that doesn't cause us to have huge cost overruns or completely miss the deadline. But we do want to make sure that we don't hide the need for change, that we don't hide the need for improvement, that we don't hide the need to make a better product by the end of this, and that we don't hide our learning that we've done along the way. That we find a way to share those things because that's what a professional does. And then if you have those settled, then people have agency because there's an agreement up front that professionals can act professionally. Professionals acting professionally is agency. It is psychological safety. Okay? So it is the absence of learned helplessness. So there is a tension between these fixed systems and these evolving systems that cause us to fall into traps of learned helplessness. And we need to visualize the needs of the project, the information that people need to see, and the actions required. That is what an albeit is. So right now, here's an albeit that I show all the time. You know, I'm sure that, you know, many of you, if you have seen this, seen other videos from me, you've seen probably this exact image of this albeit at the Coney Island Hospital project in New York. And this is building a giant hospital. And up here they have a timeline visualization. Over here they have a Kanban visualization. Over here they have hotspots for when there's going to be a comfortable number of people on site, an uncomfortable number of people on site, and probably an overloaded number of people on site. So we see those different colors showing that heat map so that they can manage those things. Over here we have pictures for the way that the project is currently going. Here's a safety area. Here's even a little model of the building. All of this stuff is information that usually lives in a Google Doc or a spreadsheet or somebody's drawer or something, right? But not where everyone can see it all the time. So what happens now is this is a large part of the team that was building that building. So even though this is the procurement schedule over here and Nicole's here and she doesn't necessarily work on procurement, she knows where everything is in procurement. So when the stuff that she's interested in is ready to buy or runs into a roadblock or something else, she knows, and she knows that she can pay attention to that and she can help the procurement agent. That is agency. That is the absence of learned helplessness that is made very easy, if not expected. There's that expectation word again. Is made an expectation by the existence of the visualization. The visualization says this work needs your help. And she's like, oh, as a professional, now I'm going to go give that help, right? In the absence of that, you know, when we're visualizing our work, you know, like this, there. When we're visualizing our work like this, there is nothing to react to, all right? Other than other people coming and telling you that they need you to do something. That is the way things have always been done, and we've seen the results of that. We get really busy doing the things that we need to do. Other people come out of the blue with no context and ask us for a question or ask us for help, and then we're like, I don't have time to help you. But if it looks like this, if it's sitting there on the wall and maybe it's coming up, you see the ticket move from here to here to here. And you know, as Nicole, you know that work is coming towards you. You can see it in context. You can see that it's reaching a point where maybe some of the other tickets got stuck that you didn't have to worry about, but you knew that things got stuck in that place. Over here, as we're going through the months, and you know your people are going to be on site here. As we get through here, you know where they might be a bottleneck. You know where the trades that Nicole's working with, when they might be a bottleneck, so that she can act on that early. She can act on that when she has time. She can act on that because she has agency, because she's a professional who has been informed about the work that is coming up. That is awesome. Because what is not awesome is this. There it goes. Learned helplessness is not awesome. It is also not a weak response. There are a lot of very, very strong people that you will run into who are suffering from learned helplessness because it is a condition that someone suffers. And these are powerful people naturally who feel powerless because it has been shown to them that they are. And they'll need proof to stick their necks out in the future. And proof can't come from you telling them, hey, you've now got learned helplessness. That doesn't work. But seeing something does. Seeing the system operate does. And I'll tell you what, the stronger the person, the stronger the resistance to visualization, because there's like a direct relationship between their strength and how awful learned helplessness feels to them. And they don't want to ever feel like that again. So those people who are your biggest critics often end up being the biggest supporters because of that. The delta of their awesome is being held back so much, and when you're able to allow them to experience that, off they go. So, learned helplessness is a condition. It can be cured. It cannot be cured by you telling them to do things, but it certainly can be cured by building a right environment that has an obeya that allows professionals to act with confidence.